Hey, what's up, everybody? We got, dude, this is going to be a good one. Hopefully, I don't go too long. I'm going to do my best to restrain my ranting and my yapping as best as I can. Look,
No,
remember,
what are you
I
doing?
only started around the election. I need you to do the things. If you're America First, this is an America First channel. You just found me fantastic. You guys know what you got to do. Do them things, hit those buttons. Any sources I use will be down in the description of this video, like always. But for the most part, we got a killer one. This is Piers Morgan. We got a Piers Morgan panel with Dave Smith, Dave Rubin, and Cenk Uygur, dude. When I saw Dave Rubin and Cenk on the same panel on the Jerry Springer politics show called Piers Morgan Uncensored, I thought, I need my full attention on these two monsters calling each other names. They're gonna just argue with each other. I don't mind Dave Rubin. He's not bad. It is what it is. You can feel however you want to feel about Dave Rubin. But he says not terrible things now. I know he was with the Turks. I used to watch the Turks way back then whenever Dave Rubin was actually on the show. That was a long time ago. But at the same time, it is what it is. These two guys, Jank and Dave Rubin hate each other's guts. So if you want to see these two idiots on the same panel, you can get them. I need your peepers. I need some Mr. Peepers? Mr. Peepers is pretty. You know Mr. Peepers? I bet you don't know Mr. Peepers, but I need your peepers. I need Mr. Peepers and those peepers. You're gonna want to see this. Check it out.
Is that why they call you Spirit Walker?
What? Oh, no, no, don't be ridiculous. They call me Spirit Walker because I walk with such great enthusiasm. Observe.
Oh! Oh, Mr. Peepers! Mr. Oh! Look out! Mr. Peepers, look at you go!
What's bringing them together is a love for America, a realization that we have been on the precipice of giving away the most precious, beautiful experiment in human history on how to free people ever. And I think Donald Trump actually now sees that. I also think that post-assassination attempt, I think he has a renewed fervor and sort of realization of what his role in life is. And that's the opportunity that, again, not to make this about Anna specifically, but anyone that's going through a wake up. We know so many people have woken up. I mean, look, for me, I think it was 2016. I did that Why I Left the Left video for PragerU. You want everyone to get there the day you do, but you have to be gracious when people come around one way or another.
Yeah. Well, let's bring in my other panel members because some of them are definitely going on a very interesting journey, including new MAGA enthusiast Cenk Uygur. I said that deliberately to wind him up.
What are you
The host
doing?
and founder
What
of
are
the
you
Young Turks.
doing?
Well, Jank looks very happy to be here, doesn't he? Well, let me think. Has Dave Rubin and Jank Uygur have they been in like the same room, even virtually, really, since they've absolutely destroyed each other online? I mean, it's TYT does it way worse than Rubin, at least from what I see. But I don't watch. Rubin doesn't catch my eye as much as TYT does. But either way, have they even have they ever hashed anything out ever since? I don't care about that type of drama, so I don't really look into it. I just like it when it flares up. But like the in between downtime when they're just saying ridiculous stuff, I don't always catch all the nonsense because I don't care that much. It's just funny when it's funny. When it's not funny, I don't care. I'm not paying attention. I don't give a shit. But I don't know. I don't know. I think that's Mr. Peepers got me excited. But I don't know. I really meant your eyeballs. I need your eyeballs ready because it's almost time for it's almost time. So get ready for how happy these guys are about to be talking to each other. And it does such a great job for the Democrats that Lindy Li starts talking about how she's going to take and it's time for maybe her to leave the Democrat tent and take her tens of millions of dollars that she normally funds for Democrats to the America First tent because it's so welcoming. After what she sees about to happen, it's something to see. So get them peeps peeping.
Now, 091771 lives a life free of struggle and full of pleasure, no longer burdened by his unattainable pursuit of success.
Why do you try to awaken memory?
We only asked for his undivided attention. Now, he can simply exist without the hard work and disappointment. All he needs are his eyes and his thumbs. Step right up to Melody Manor, where you'll learn how to dance like the rest.
Why did the tomato turn red? Because all the others were doing it.
So, Cenk, I mean, many people saying if you carry on down the road you're going in the last few weeks, you will be a fully fledged member of MAGA before we know it.
Yeah, there's absolutely no chance of that. I'm not like Dave Rubin, a giant sellout fraud
Wow.
who changed all of his positions and is totally useless and it shouldn't even be on here. He's just a waste of space.
Wow. Really? After what all Dave said about coming together?
Yeah. Yeah, no, got no interest in coming together with utter frauds like Dave Rubin. So, brother, you telling me that when you were on the Young Turks, you were Mr. Progressive and you agreed with us 100%. Now, all of a sudden, you agree with Trump 100%. You're not saying something nuanced like we are. Hey, you know, when the guy gets shot at and he puts his fist up, that's courageous. When he does the McDonald's photo op and it works fine, no problem, right? If he wants to cut the Pentagon, great. Those are progressive positions. Anti-corruption, progressive position. Anti-war, progressive position. But you change all of your ideology overnight and you expect us to believe that that's real? I don't think it's real at all. And I want an apology from you for all the crazy, outrageous lies that you told about the Young Turks. When is that going to happen, huh?
Wow.
And when are you going to admit that you changed all your positions for money? Okay. Well, what position do you still have that's in any way a so-called classic liberal? You fraud.
I almost killed myself, Julie.
I I had to take a break from last night because I was using sleepy, stoned, middle of the night voice, and I just sound like a sad, weepy little bitch, so I had to stop. But my voice and my nasal cavities get all shut because I'm ate edibles and whatever. Anyway, I take medicine. Anyway, um, what the hell was that? Jank, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Anyway,
What are you doing?
why is he so mad? What did you hear what he just said though? He basically just said, "I'm so mad at Dave Rubin for changing all of his positions overnight to the winning positions, the ones that are currently winning. I'm so mad about it. I can't believe he did that. He's such a fraud for going over to Trump's side." And then he follows it up with every single thing that Trump does that's good was actually my idea. That's actually a progressive ideal. So, Jank, why are you so mad? If you're saying that everything that Trump is doing, everything good that Trump does, Jank says that's a progressive idea. That's that's us. So we did that. We made that up. And then all the bad stuff, of course, is old conservative stuff. Has not Jank doesn't want he doesn't want anything to do with that. But he's mad at Dave Rubin for joining the other side, essentially. I mean, you call it whatever you want to call it. But just joining the other side of ideas. And then now Jank is saying, "Hey, those good ideas you guys have on that side, those are actually our ideas." And it's, dude, what are you even mad about? Anyway, they're about to embarrass themselves. You ready? You ready for it? All right. This is a national TV. These are supposed to be like I'm shit posting clearly. Obviously, I'm being funny, I'm being cheeky, I take the piss out of everybody. It's fun. I like it. I like being a little jerk. I don't know. It's funny to me. I like making people laugh. I think the shit's funny to me. I don't know. But like these dudes are supposed to be like serious, like I don't know. If I ever made it and people start taking me serious, I'd start being serious. But for now, we're just having a good time and talking to each other. But let's see. These dudes are about to turn off a major donor to the Democrats just on this display alone.
Dave?
Piers, it's barely worth responding to this ridiculous buffoon who's the joke of the industry. But I will say this, Cenk, I haven't spoken to you in 10 years.
Even right-wingers think that you're a total fraud.
I don't think he's a fraud or a joke. I think Dave Rubin is, for what it's worth, I think Dave Rubin is one of the most influential and significant voices out there right now. And I admire his honesty about the journey he's been on, Cenk.
Piers, I appreciate that.
See, like I don't know. I'm not real good at reading people. I haven't worked, in a specific field that I haven't talked about yet. That has taught me skills with my hands. It's taught me how engineering works. It's taught me how to fix gasoline engines, how to rebuild engines, how to fix cars. I mean, I don't want to get into exactly what it is, but it is what it is. But also customer service, reading people, sales, certain business management skills, and I really just I'm having a hard time reading these guys. Do these guys not like each other? I'm kinda curious. Do you think you think maybe they don't like each other? Maybe a little bit? I don't know. I don't really have much to add to this. I'm just here for the show. I was not expecting this. I'm very, very happy with the results. But Lindy Li, look at Lindy Li down there. That is a big Democrat donor, guys. I don't. If you don't know who Lindy Li is, look her up. I recommend it. Maybe I'll put. There'll be a link in the description to Lindy Li. Go down in the description if you want to know who Lindy Li is. She raises a lot of money for Democrats, and she has a lot recently for sure. Watch how this goes.
But the thing is, what Cenk just proved is exactly what everyone in America, and I would say all over the world, is getting over. Nobody wants what he just offered up there. Not only does no one believe it, and he had it prepackaged and ready to go, and it's complete drivel. Yes. I sold out. It's just it's so nonsensical. Again, Cenk, I'll gladly send you a signed copy of the book, and you can read all of my thoughts. And if you're anti-corruption and you're anti-war, you should be on the Trump train. But your endless hatred, the division that you sow, calling everyone racist and white supremacists, all of that stuff, it's why you're not respected. But I don't mean to get into the personal side of that. I'm talking about now something that culturally has shifted, and everyone can see the grift that you're up to, trying to sort of dance with the thing. But it's just not necessary, and I don't think that many people will buy it.
I get whenever people in politics get attacked for being flip-floppers. I get it. I get being a grifter, being a fence sitter, being milk toast, and just kind of going where the wind blows. You should see online right now, like because I suggested you look up Lindy Li and see how this conversation's going and how it's going to end on the impact that it could possibly have for Democrats. Now, leave it to Democrats to immediately spin that potential loss into an attack and the utter destruction of Lindy Li for criticizing the left. She is a huge donor for the left. She was on the finance committee for the campaign for the Kamala Harris's campaign finance committee. She raised tens of millions of dollars for the Democrats. My son won't stop messing with bags of chips in the background while I'm talking, so I'm sure you can't hear it, but it's making my brain bleed. It's okay. No big deal. It's only my brain. But anyway, I'm sure you didn't hear it. It's okay. Grab your chips. I don't really give a shit. I'm just saying. I just was that the words came out of my mouth. That's it. No filter. Anyway, in the end, look online. Look on X after you go get familiar with Lindy Li is and see everything she's done for the Democrats and everything that's gone on for her. Look at this picture of her at at Kamala Harris's election party. Does that look like that's a person that is at who raised tens of millions of dollars for Kamala Harris and the Democrats. She's at she is at their election party. And then go look online right now of the attacks from the left against Lindy Li for going on Fox News and criticizing the left. She's mad because her donors that she crowdfunds money for the Democrats and gets all those donors. A lot of them are ex, CCP, ex, Chinese. They left the communist regime in China, and she deals with a lot of those people. And I feel like it's kind of strange for her to be on the left, considering she came from that side. But she will openly say that she is a conservative Democrat. It's just whatever that means. Whatever that means. Whatever. You can be whatever you want to be. Call yourself whatever you want. I don't really give a shit. It's no big deal. It's just your actions. What are your actions? And her actions are look at this woman at this party, and then now go look at the comments online because she said my donors were lied to. They were sold a fake bill of sale for Kamala Harris, and I crowdfunded tens of millions of dollars, and we're paying. Why should she not criticize it? She's like, why did you give Oprah Winfrey, a billionaire? What did you give her? $5 million, $2.5 million for an appearance or for an interview? She's a billionaire. She couldn't do the establishment a favor and just do the interview? Why did you have to give Oprah Winfrey $2 to $5 million or whatever it was? It's irrelevant. She's a billionaire. She doesn't need $5 million. Why did you pay your staff a half a billion? You wasted a couple of $1 billion, Kamala, and one of your main crowdfunding donors and someone that was on your campaign finance committee is criticizing you because you wasted a couple $1 billion. Of course they're complaining about it. Why wouldn't they? and she feels like the wool was pulled over her eyes. She's very upset about it. So she's criticizing you, and that doesn't mean she's leaving you or doing anything, but look at the attacks. Listen to what she tells Piers Mirror. Wait, listen to what she tells Piers Morgan about how she's been attacked recently by going on Fox News and openly saying the things that you can see with your eyes. We don't need Lindy Li to tell us that the donors for the Democrats got absolutely effed during this campaign. We don't need Lindy Li to tell us that, but she is. And because she is, attack, attack, attack. The same thing that's happening between Cenk and Dave Rubin, the same thing that drives everyone away from the left. It is what it is. We're seeing it in live action. This is actually this video this is a good video. The difference between the left and the right and how they treat their I guess I don't want to call them the defectors of the party, but whatever you want to call it is fine. But Stephen A. Smith recently is finding out the same exact thing that Lindy Li has found out, the same thing that Dave Rubin has found out, the same thing that anyone that espoused any opinions that would be so-called left wing or in the middle or anything close to Democrat or progressive or anything like that. If you have any sort of evolution, if you have any sort of profound change of opinion, even as articulate as Dave Rubin is, clearly a much more articulate man than myself. He's a very smart man. He's able to put his words out of his mouth hole very well. That's good for him. I don't know if that particularly makes you smart. I don't think a smart person necessarily needs to speak smart or be incredibly articulate. He just needs to not be completely fucking retarded. Maybe do
Yes.
that. But yeah, Stephen A. Smith, he's seeing the same thing. It's like if I criticize, I can do everything. I can be a left winger my entire life. I can be a Democrat my entire life. I can raise you $100 million, do everything, do the election party, do all that shit. I can go on TV with a big, huge platform like Stephen A. Smith and be a Democrat for decades and openly participate in identity politics and everything that the left wants and everything that the progressive radical left wants for a very long time in the last decade or so. And then Stephen A. Smith comes out, takes one step into the, hey, you know what? I don't think what we did was, wasn't really smart. What we did wasn't very, very effective. And I think we need to look at ourselves and not blame the other side for it. And here we go. Listen to him. How did he get treated?
Play a clip from Stephen A. Smith. This is where he's calling out people who say he's on the right because he's been criticizing Democrats. Let's take a listen.
No surprises. You're just continuing to piss me off. Why? Because every time I make a comment that's critical of the Democratic Party or the left, I get accused of being a pundit for the right. I voiced my concerns about Joe Biden and his ability to serve as second term as president. Then Biden stepped on the debate stage in late June and revealed what many suspected. He embarrassed himself. The White House and the Democrats eventually switched to Vice President Kamala Harris when he stepped away. I pointed out my concerns with the campaign and the Democratic Party along the way, and many of you wanted to accuse me of being a voice for the right.
Yeah, I mean, I just find it inexplicable that someone like him, who's so smart, can pass genuinely constructive criticism about why Democrats got it wrong, and immediately he has to be branded a right-wing headbanger, and that's the only reason he's doing this, when in fact a bit of serious introspection from the Democrats is obviously massively overdue.
How many examples we have just in this video alone. Cenk and Dave Rubin and TYT versus Dave Rubin and Anna and the whole thing. Stephen A. Smith having constructive, reasonable criticism that is logical. Lindy Li has a responsibility and a duty of care for her donors to make sure, what did we do with the money? How did we prioritize it? Why did we give millions of dollars to a billionaire named Oprah for an interview? She has a duty to do those things. And being attacked is one thing, and being called names or whatever online, she's being a little sensitive about that, and just ignore that stuff, Lindy. But it's just, like she's watching. But it's just this is turning her stomach as she's watching it and as she's listening, and watch how it turns. And then he played a clip of Kamala. Did you see Kamala Harris's? Why did she even come out and talk? Why did she even say anything? What a weird, strange, drunk aunt like speech before Christmas. I challenge. What did she say? Forever
impatient for change.
And she's what? Okay, Lindy Li is about to. She's about to start cooking. She's about to make a casserole. Are you ready? A casserole full of casseroles. Why'd I have to say that? Fucking goddamn it.
Shut up immediately.
I mean, Lindy, no disrespect to her, because she's a perfectly nice woman. She would not inspire me to open a bag of chips. I mean, seriously. And I think that she sort of personifies now the ghost of Christmas past, as does Biden. The Democrats have got to move on quickly, haven't they?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. She's indulging delusions of running for governor in California in 2026 and perhaps even running for president in 2020. And I just want to echo what a lot of you guys already said. This past week has been harrowing for me. This Saturday, I went on Fox and Friends and I said that Democrats have a stench of loser hanging over them.
Yeah.
As soon as I said that, there were boycott campaigns against me, unblock, unfollow campaigns. I lost 40,000 followers.
Really?
In 4 days. People have called me the W word. I don't know what we're allowed to say, but you can fill in the blank.
We're uncensored. Let's say it. Say it. Say what the word was.
Am I allowed to?
Yeah.
Well, they called me a whore. They called me the C word. They asked
Disgusting.
for me to be deported. And you can just search for my name in those terms on X and you'll see a bunch of them. So, all these so-called Democrats, the party of inclusion, the party of diversity, masks off. And it's even worse because they pretend to occupy the moral high ground. At least with Republicans, they are who they are. But with Democrats, they pretend to be, so loving and caring and embracing of diversity. But all of a sudden, when I dare to utter any criticisms of the goddess, Kamala Harris, I get ostracized. Me, after having raised tens of millions of dollars for the party. And I'm being called a grifter when all along, all these years, I've said on TV, I've said to the press, I'm a conservative Democrat. This is not a switch for me. This is just me. This is who I've always been.
Yeah.
And also, my donors are pissed. They raised $2.5 billion across Super PAC in the campaign. It's my responsibility. It's my duty of care to ask what the hell happened with that money? Why did we spend it? Why did we spend millions of dollars on five-star hotels for campaign staffers? Why did we spend $500,000 essentially bribing Al Sharpton moments before he interviewed Kamala? These are legitimate questions, but no, in the cult, you can't ask questions.
Yeah.
And leaving the Democratic Party or even questioning the Democratic Party is like leaving a cult. It's terrifying.
That is absolutely brutal to have. I mean, I'm telling you, if you go look into her, look at the links in the description. She raises a lot of money for the Democrats. For her to be talking like that is a big deal. Now, I'm sure this is all just flash in the pan nonsense. I'm sure next election, even in the midterm, she's going to be on the Democrat side fundraising for them again. But who knows? They keep pushing. They keep pushing her over the cliff. She's just going to jump off. I don't know. I don't want to downplay. I don't want to church up her participation going to the MAGA side or, her. I don't want to church up her leaving the left or joining the right or any of that because you never know what she's going to do. But, I also don't want to ignore it because if the Democrats think her leaving is no big deal, I think it's a pretty big deal. I think if she went to join to fundraise for the Trump side, I think it could make a difference. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I should just make this basket and put the cans of soup on the shelf. I don't know. But I think it's worth highlighting. And there's a weird argument they're about to have. Dave Rubin challenges Cenk to give him a position that he espouses that he does not genuinely believe in himself. What Cenk is actually saying is you have two different sets of beliefs. The first set of beliefs, you either believed it and you went to sleep and woke up with a different set of beliefs. So either the first set of beliefs you don't believe or the second set of beliefs you don't believe. Which one is it? Clearly, you can't hold a set of beliefs and go to sleep and wake up and have a completely different set of beliefs. Now, of course, Cenk has to be hyperbolic and ridiculous because he's a buffoon. So he has to just whittle it down to nothing and make it just so simplistic that it just doesn't really make sense in the context. It just doesn't. But anyway, Piers kind of gets it wrong, and that Piers and Rubin keep saying, "Give me an opinion that I have that I don't genuinely believe in." So they're like close to all three of them talking about the same thing, but it's like they're kind of like missing each other's point a little bit. I think maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like they're missing each other's point. It causes a little bit of confusion, which is unfortunate because I'm just an idiot in some pajamas in my living room, and they're professionals getting paid millions of dollars, and they seem to not really understand what each other were talking about. I think it still whittles down to like the same thing though. It's really just that Dave isn't being genuine about some things, and Dave just continues to challenge Cenk, "Give me something I'm not being genuine about." So it is kind of the same thing, but it's kind of weird. I don't like how the argument went. Either way, I'll try to keep it as short as I can. It's just I think it's important to see how they argue with each other and Lindy watching it and even an independent like myself just watching from the outside. It's just so bizarre. The talking points are so bizarre. The cult type of way of doing things is so strange. But either way, you'll see what the results are. It's interesting.
Yeah, Dave Rubin. I mean, that's actually really unpleasant to listen to, isn't it? I mean, the idea that a woman who her only crime was to try and raise money for a pretty hopeless candidate, and obviously that didn't work. But the idea that immediately she raises criticism, legitimate and in my view entirely correct criticism of the party, she is abused in that kind of horribly misogynistic and disgusting manner. What does that tell you about where we are?
Sure. Well, I would say, Piers, we have a living, breathing example of that happening on this panel right now, which is that what she just illustrated there is a bunch of attacks on her character and her behavior and saying awful things, and you can describe them as misogynistic and all those things. Look at everything that Cenk just said to me. These are just attacks, not on my beliefs, but on my character, which again, he couldn't illustrate one thing that I say that I don't believe. I came out, I woke up very early to the excesses of the left, what we now know as wokeness. I came out against identity politics, and I wanted to return America to what it was founded on, which was individual liberty and judging everyone by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. The progressive movement is wildly attached to something that brings everyone back to ancient hatred. So when you leave the left, as both of the ladies just pointed out, you will get unending hatred, usually having nothing to do with what you believe or you say. And again, I would just have anyone rewind the video and listen to the nonsense that Cenk said about me to prove that it still exists.
Well, Cenk, I mean, you did launch a very aggressive ad hominem attack on Dave Rubin off the top, which was your decision to do that. But in relation to his specific question, Cenk, can you say one thing that Dave Rubin believes in today that you don't think he believes?
Donald Trump has YMCA. Isn't there a firefighter in there? There's a cop and an Indian. I'm not sure.
Hold on. Look, there's a couple of super important things to say here. First of all, in answering your question, look, Dave doesn't believe in any of the positions he believed in. Before he thought he believed in affirmative action, he believed in this. Okay, affirmative action. And now he says it's the worst thing in the world.
Affirmative action. I evolved. I used to believe in identity politics because I was a progressive like you.
You asked me to say.
Yes,
Why can't he
asked me to name something you changed on? I named it.
You're telling me I don't believe what I'm saying right now. You're calling me a sellout. I believe in
Did you believe the Russian propaganda you were paid for?
Oh, you are an utter
Did you believe the
buffoon.
Russian propaganda you were paid for?
I was not paid, Cenk. I was not paid.
You were paid $100,000 a video.
Oh my God, you clown! I would recommend anyone look into that to find out a bit more on that. Cenk, how much when you took $1 million from Jeffrey Katzenberg? What did that do for you?
And did I change my positions at all? Not 1%. Not 1%. Okay, can I just address the core of the problem, Piers?
What position do you think I hold that I cannot explain my beliefs on?
Jeffrey Katzenberg.
We're getting close to the end here. The overall picture and image we have to understand is this. When people give their opinions and give their principles or their stances or their beliefs on certain policies, you have to allow people room to evolve, especially these people that are in their 20s and 30s that are talking about politics, even in your 40s. Everyone has room to grow. I mean, I used to be a piece of shit. My hair used to be slicked back. I used to eat sloppy steaks. I used to, I used to go to Trefani's, and it used to be a thing. I used to live for New Year's Eve. I used to live for that. But, I'm not like that anymore. People can change, and everyone can change. And if Dave changes his opinion, you have to believe him. I mean, it'd be different if he took different actions and he was just like saying the opposite of what his action showed us. But I don't know about tenant media. I don't know about the Russian thing. I know about roaming millennial and the whole or whoever was it? Was it Rowing Melanie? Whatever, well, whatever she used to call herself. With Tenant Media and a Russian company paying, Tim Pool and these people. I don't care about any of that shit. Everyone gets paid by somebody. As long as you're not being a full blown sellout, us being a sellout is, you know, I don't know. There's so many different ways to be a sellout, but Cenk is absolutely a sellout, and that's why it's hilarious whenever he's calling Dave Rubin a sellout for taking money to do work that he does. And then whenever he brings up Katzenberg, Cenk just he wants to say, but Katzenberg wants the establishment, and I'm against the establishment, so I'm not a sellout. Even though I sold, you know, even though I sold influence on my show to Katzenberg, I'm gonna pretend I didn't, and taking his money did nothing. He gave me money because he's a nice guy. Is that what happened, Cenk? Okay. All right. So anyway, everyone takes money. That's what we're all here to do. We're all here to try to make money. Everyone wants their little slice of the pie. If you're gonna do work, then you expect to be paid for it. If I don't really the origins of how people get paid, that stuff does matter. I'm not sure if Dave Rubin knew that it was coming from a Russian company or that he cared or whatever the case is. I don't know why we're so nuclear towards everything Russian. Like, oh, it was Russian. Russians are just like regular humans too, guys. They're just like live somewhere else. That's all. I don't what just because they're Russian, you can't take their money. I don't. That's very confusing. Now, if they're peddling their Russian influence and these people are just going in lockstep, see what I mean? I'm off on a tangent on shit I don't care about. I don't care about this. I'm not even going to talk about it anymore. Whatever you can think, whatever you want to think about who gets paid from where, but it is pretty funny whenever one person's pointing at the other one, and then those four fingers are pointing right back at them. But Lindy Lee's watching this whole thing, absolutely disgusted by the way these two people are talking to each other and the whole situation that she's living through. And Dave Rubin is 100% correct. This is a living example of what's going on, and that's the entire point of this video. So let's try to finish this up here so you don't fall asleep. Come on.
Oh, yeah! Meredith, you never told me your old grandpa used to be a huge piece of shit.
Could you not call my dad a piece of shit?
I said he used to be a piece of shit. He's not anymore. I'm not anymore. Glass house, white Ferrari, live for New Year's Eve, sloppy steaks at Cerfani's, big rare cut of meat with water dumped all over it, water splashing around the table. Makes the night so much more fun. After the club, go to Cerfani's for sloppy steaks. They'd say, no sloppy steaks, but they can't stop you from ordering a steak and a glass of water. Before you knew it, we were dumping that water on those steaks. The waiters were coming to try and snatch him up. We had to eat as fast as we could. Oh, I miss those nights. I was a piece of shit, though.
Used to be.
I said was!
The point Dave Rubin is making is, why shouldn't he be allowed to go on an evolution of his views? And why does that mean that right now you can say to him, as you did, you don't believe anything you're saying or believe now, when actually it's completely possible that he 100% believes everything he now says because he's changed his mind? Why can't he do that? And why don't you believe him?
I think that the left is scarred by people like Dave Rubin, who had a complete change. For example, Tulsi Gabbard goes from total progressive to total right-winger. On the other hand, RFK Jr. didn't go to a total right-winger. He still believes the things that he believes about the environment, about housing, about corruption, etc. So you have to be able to distinguish between the people who are doing it professionally, as I hate the word grift, but whatever it is that you want to call it, and the people who have genuine disagreements and genuine nuance in their opinions. So, for example, guys, there's three different branches of each party. There is the radical right, radical left, there's the populist left and populist right, and then there's the establishment of both parties. I despise the establishment with every fiber of my being, and I've been doing that same exact program for over 22 years, longest running show in internet history, and we've never wavered on that. But now the radical left, unfortunately, is doing what you're worried about, Piers, that the minute that they see anything where you say, I agree with the right, when they agree with us on something like anti-war, they go, oh my God, hold on, let me finish the thought. Let me finish the thought. And what people then say is, oh no, he's going to pull a Dave Rubin because these guys get paid to go fully right wing and then they'll throw their own people under the bus. So they'll pick a gay guy like Dave to throw gay people under the bus. If you see me going after Muslims, if you see me going after people that I've always supported, then you have an issue. But part of the, and this is not a pivot, guys. We've been fighting the radical left for 2 straight years now because they say absurd things like, hey, if the right wing agrees with us, we shouldn't do it anyway. We had somebody leave the network because they said, everyone on the right wing is racist. If you agree with the right wing in anything, even if it's things that we agree on, that makes you racist, and it hurts black bodies.
All right.
See, that's absurd.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Of course it is. I mean, the irony is that you and Dave Rubin probably agree with a lot more than you're prepared to ever admit. You just don't think his views are sincere because he's changed his mind on a number of positions. By the way, I used to think I was liberal.
It's not just that, Piers. He lied about us 20 times
I have
over.
nothing in common with modern woke liberals. Zero. Let me bring Dave Smith back in. Let me bring Dave Smith back in. Dave, look, this is part of the problem, it seems to me, is that actually, if people stopped the ad hominem stuff, they could find a lot of common ground where I think there's been a very rapid repudiation of a lot of the nuttier progressive left stuff. And you're seeing America actually through Trump, albeit through he has his inflammatory rhetoric, but you're seeing America, I think, coming to a far more centrist place, actually, which is why he's managed to attract people from all different walks of life. I think that's what's going on. And you're seeing the people on the extremities beginning to look more and more irrelevant.
I just stopped right here. That's a rare moment of silence on the Piers Morgan Uncensored panel, on an Uncensored panel. It's pretty rare for everyone to just keep their mouth shut for just a couple seconds there. But Piers' points were just spot on. And really what it comes down to, the moral and the main point of this video is that the team politics has to come to an end to some degree. Our founding fathers never thought there should be teams. Never thought there should be money in politics. It's just not a career. It's not something to get rich off of. It's a public service. It's something for a community. And these monsters it's been a couple generations now, have really gone a little bit crazy now with making that a career, making it something for like Joe Biden in particular. I talk about it all the time. Dude's never had a real job where he would have talked about it. If he ever bagged groceries at the local grocery store before he was a politician, he'd be talking about it. I don't know, maybe you could find me a clip of him talking about what he used to do. But even if you did find it and showed it to me, I would be like, I need proof, dude, because I don't believe anything he says. So he's too far gone. That's not a good example, but you get the point. Ultimately, the team politics is what's so ugly and why Lindy Li is about to say what she's about to say, and we're going to end the video. So we're almost there here. This is their last leg. It's just the response of Lindy Li seeing this team dynamic play out, and this, well, you used to be on my team and we used to be friends, and then you took one step over the line to the other side. Oh, screw you, I'm never going to talk to you again. No, screw you, dude. You're sold out. You're this, you're that. It's pretty extreme. Lindy Li, she crowdfunds and gets her lobbies and gets her donors tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars to this campaign for Kamala Harris. She says, hey, you guys made mistakes. You right-wing monster. We always knew that you were a right-wing. It's like, what the hell is wrong with everyone? Stop doing that shit. It's weird. Dave Smith is about to make a good point about Louis C.K. We'll see that real quick, and then we'll drop in Lindy Li right at the end. But this is ugly. I mean, this stuff has to stop. I mean, even TYT recently, whenever the omnibus got punted into the atmosphere, they did a quick, hit piece on the Republicans saying that they hate kids with cancer, about $180 million going to a cancer research or cancer whatever. I'm a father of a child with cancer, so don't ever try to bring that stuff up to me and act like I don't know what I'm talking about. So I promise you right now, my child was diagnosed with leukemia when he was 4 years old. He almost died. He required a bone marrow transplant. He had BALL, believe me, or yes. So I promise you, it's been a long time. He's a teen now. He's still not out of the weeds, but he'll be a teen in a couple months. And he's just he's doing great now, so don't worry about none of that. But that stuff is it was lymphoblastic leukemia, very high risk. Whenever he went in, anyone in the medical field would know, his white blood cell count whenever he was diagnosed was over 180,000. Just so you can know how bad the disease was attacking his body by the time he was diagnosed. he was a husk of his former self. He was he looked like he was almost like Auschwitz. It was rough. It was rough seeing a child look like that, and that was my child. So don't ever say did you see what the Republicans did? They hate kids with cancer. They won't help kids with you better stop. Don't make me go look into that company and see what they do and how they overspend and who owns them and do all that stuff. By all means, if that place is in sainthood as far as cancer goes and does everything by the book, the pricing all makes sense, the receipts make sense, and that place is perfect and Republicans shut it down, that was a huge mistake. They shouldn't have done that. So I'm gonna look into it. You're gonna see a video coming about that place that got shut down on the omnibus for 100. They cut $180 million of whatever cancer, whatever support for this company or whoever it is. I can't remember whether it was a specific hospital or whatever it was, but it made me want to look into them because I promise you, the federal government, they don't let our children die from cancer. I can promise you that. It's the taxpayers spent millions of dollars to save my child's life. You think I had a couple $1,000,000? No, he would have died in another country if I had to pay or anything like that. So, I'm very happy to be an American. I'm very happy and lucky to be born here, and ultimately where I was born was a very huge key to saving my child's life. And another place, I may not have been so lucky. So take that for what it is. Ultimately, when TYT, the point I'm trying to make is sorry, I went off on a little bit of a rant there, but the main point I'm trying to make is whenever they reduce the reduction all the way down to they hate kids with cancer, they don't care about kids with cancer, that makes me want to it makes my body want to explode. It makes me want to look into every single thing that place does, find every receipt for every time they overpaid for a shuttle, for a doctor to go somewhere, or a flight for a place that they paid way too much or did first class. Go ahead, bring me the receipts on why they need 180 million. It just something tells me why would Republicans cut that and risk being called from the left? And that's the point I'm making is and Dave Smith is about to make it. If you do one thing, if Republicans cut cancer research, they hate kids with cancer from the other side. And it goes both ways. Whenever the Democrats say, "Well, we're going to cut this," then the Republicans go, "Look at them; they don't care about balancing the budget, whatever it is." Both sides have to stop. That's the point.
After Louis C.K. got in trouble and when he started coming back, they started insulting the people who were buying tickets to see him. And then they started saying that Louis C.K. only plays for right-wing audiences now. But their definition of right-wing was anyone who wants to buy a ticket to go see him still. So it's just like what happens is that if one group is saying, you're a monster, we hate you, you're a traitor to our country, you should be punished forever, and the other group is saying, hey, we like your point on that, people tend to go toward the path of less resistance and find a new home.
Yeah.
But I would also say there's something deeper there, which is that people on the right are much more willing to agree to disagree. So you can talk to people. RFK, he was running as a Democrat, and what happened? He got virtually nothing but hate from the lefties. By the way, for the record, I debated because RFK was for affirmative action when he was running for president. I'm not. We debated it on my show, so I can clearly lay out my beliefs on that. And he sort of at the end of it kind of admitted that I was right. You don't solve perceived former discrimination with discrimination of today. But what you will consistently find, what I know my good friend Kamala has found over the years, is that as you wake up and you leave the progressive plantation, what you will find is people on the right that you're told are evil and scary, like Dennis Prager and Glenn Beck and Bill O'Reilly and all these people, that you may not agree with them on everything, but they will break bread with you. They will be generous of time and spirit, and you will consistently find that. And there's almost no version of that on the left. That is just simply true. And again, there's a living, breathing example of it right here.
Ding, 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 motherfucker!
Okay, now this is part of the show where it is hammer, meat, nail. Are you ready? Now, if you don't know who Lindy Li is, take a second before you hear this last part, just so you can absorb it. And like I've already said, sure, Lindy Li will probably be, who knows, maybe she'll be lobbying for the Democrats again next election. Maybe she'll be lobbying for them even right now as I live and breathe and speak these words to you now. But these words still matter because she crowdfunds and lobbies for tens and hundreds of millions of dollars for Democrats. And listen what she's about to say. I hope it shifts the scales. I hope the Democrats keep pushing her and shoving her out the door and sending that money towards our side, towards the America First side, because she is definitely ex-CCP. She would definitely never go the Marxist route, and I'm down. I'm here to see what she does. I want to see her evolution. Let's see what she does. I don't give a shit. I'm not a part of the teams. I'm not on your team. Stop it. I don't care. Makes sense? I'll listen. I'll follow. Makes sense? Be logical? I'll follow. Makes sense? Do things that make sense. Don't take bribes. Don't do dumb shit. Don't insider trade. Don't need this job as you're smoking that crack. You're hitting that pipe just one more time before Trump takes over. Nah, bro, I'm done with it. We're done. Done. Finish this up for me, Lindy.
No! What are you doing? What
Oops.
are you doing?
Sorry. Right clip.
Are they going to carry on villainizing people like you? Or do you think that the coffee is going to get smelled at some stage and they're actually going to wake up and find a candidate that is more electable and find people like you a place in that tent to try and drive to an election victory?
Piers, I don't want that. I don't want to be a part of this tent. I don't want to be a part of this craziness anymore. They're accelerating my rightward shift. I don't want this nonsense. It's just crazy. And honestly, they're shrinking their tent. They're basically telling me to they're pushing me to bring my tens of millions of dollars that I've raised and can continue to raise to a different team that treats me better, that treats me with just common decency, that doesn't call me a communist spy. By the way, the communist regime in China killed my great-grandfather. They don't know my family's history. This is the first time I'm really saying it on air. They are calling me a spy for the regime that killed my great-grandfather. Let that soak in just for a second. That's how disgraceful they are. Yeah. And these are the people who call themselves the social justice warriors. They are dabbling, they are going headfirst into racism anytime someone dares to disagree with them. I don't want to be a part of this nonsense anymore. I want to be a part of the team that says men are men and women are women, and then men shouldn't play in women's sports. And I'm an athlete myself. I'm a marathon runner. I don't want to run against a man. I know I'm going to get trounced. That's just biology. It's science.
Of course.
It's not politics.
And there's a reason why I'm telling you to look into Lindy Li. It's because there's a possibility that she might be trying to, walk her way over towards the middle and come towards more the MAGA America First tent. She is a conservative Democrat, as she's always claimed. But I know she's ex-CCP type of, won't want Marxism, as you just heard her say. So I don't think she's down with communism and things that are just abhorrent to us in the West. But it's just, you need to know a little bit more about what she actually lobbies for. Clearly, people don't give tens and hundreds of millions of dollars with crowdfunding with Lindy Li for nothing. It's all for favors and kickbacks and whatever the case is. You just have to make sure that she's not, sure, I want that money to come to the America First side, but what favors are attached to it are pretty important. So that's why I've been openly saying this entire video. Go look into Lindy Li, not just because I'm saying she's great. I legitimately mean look into her. Is she a problem? Should we not want anything to do with her? I don't know. You tell me. I like the prospect of them losing anything. If they lose on that side, it's a win for us regardless. So no matter what, these are good things to hear. But at the same time, if she does come over to our side, what type of favors and lobbying does she bring exactly? Maybe I'll do another video about that. But I like to see a loss on their end no matter what. We'll finish it. She talks about Luigi Mangione and the fact that the left kind of celebrated, because he's a little bit hot, a little bit, that unibrow super hot. And, dude he seems like a patsy. I don't really understand. He clearly has ties to the mob. He clearly, his lawyer is married to P. Diddy's lawyer, and he's in the same prison right now that P. Diddy is housed in New York. So, you know what I mean? Do I have to say it out loud? I mean, what does that tell you? Whatever Luigi Mangione's lawyer is married to P. Diddy's lawyer, it could mean nothing, right? Yeah, it probably means nothing, huh? Yeah, I bet it means nothing. I bet they just are both, they're all from New York, right? Is that all it is? They're just all from New York. That's all. You conspiracy theorist, you freaking bigot. Anyway, let Lindy Li finish it. She's gonna finish it.
Yeah, I think you make some great points. Lindy, final word to you.
Yeah, and what's really rich? Leftists love to talk about gun violence, and I am a huge advocate for gun safety. But where was that? Where was that
Yeah.
energy
Yeah.
when this happened?
Yeah.
Suddenly it didn't matter at all. Suddenly they were worshiping at the altar of Luigi with no mention of guns, no
Yes.
mention of ghost guns, which is one of their favorite topics. But all of a sudden you can hear a pin drop because no one is mentioning it. And I do want to mention, if this guy weren't hot, there wouldn't be this mass hysteria around him. I think a lot of it is...
if he'd executed a female executive, there wouldn't have been the same reaction. Right? It was the fact it was a guy who was a middle-aged white guy executive. He fitted the narrative they wanted, which was, perfect hate figure for the whole health
And we
industry.
learned he wasn't even a client of United Healthcare.
Right.
Neither was his mom.
Yeah, I think this guy, Mangione, is a total fraud.
Promise, that was it. If you're still here, you are a trooper. I'm gonna have to do some precise chapters on this one because I see it's approaching the 1 hour mark. But this was a pretty important video. I mean, we have Cenk Uygur and Dave Rubin battling for, I believe, the first time since their huge fallout about a decade ago, and everything that happened in the subsequent years since the fallout. Um, Especially with all the bash. I believe Dave Rubin said some negative things about TYT in general, but TYT launched full-scale hit pieces on Dave Rubin. It was not comparable at all. Cenk was trying to compare the two. They're not comparable. If you bring me Dave Rubin videos of Dave Rubin absolutely bashing Cenk into oblivion and just telling a bunch of lies, feel free to share the videos down in the comments. Maybe I'll cover it. Feel free. But if you're still here, you're a beast. I hope you liked the video. This is really Cenk Uygur, Dave Rubin put on a display so disgusting about team politics and how this stuff works that Lindy Li was basically throwing up in her mouth by the end of the video and was saying she doesn't want to be a part of this anymore. She doesn't want to be under the tent of the Democrats anymore. And maybe she'll walk over and see what MAGA has to offer. Those are big comments. Those are big things to say. I thought it was worth covering. I think the fight between Cenk and Dave Rubin is worth covering. I think Anna freaking out on Cenk. I'm already covering it. You already see it. I got the clip already ready to go, cropped and ready to roll, and I didn't even cover it yet. But I'm already stuffing her. No, what are you doing? What are you doing? I can't wait to cover that. That was only a couple minute video. That was just glorious. Cenk simply said he thinks if Kamala runs for the governorship of California, she would easily win. And Anna totally loses. What are you doing? What are you doing now? I have to quit my job and leave California. She freaked out. It was glorious. So you'll see that that's coming. More Pardon Gate is coming. More drone coverage is coming. The aliens are coming. It's so anyway, I need you guys to juice it, tickle. I'm a show watcher. Please, I need you to do things, press the buttons. You know what I'm talking about. Don't make me say that stuff. It's so annoying. But I'm brand new. I just started doing this a couple weeks ago. You gotta support me. If you're America First, you gotta support me. Even if you don't like my videos, oh well, support me anyway. I don't care. Shut up. Deal with it. I'll see you in a couple hours.